Jinbocho is an area of Tokyo that is well known for its bookshops, but it also has an amazing range of stationery shops hidden amongst them. Today I'm going to take you on a tour of 5 stationery shops located in Jimbocho and show you everything they have to offer. First, we're visiting Paper Tree. This store was the furthest away from Jimbocho Station, so I walked here first to then work my way back to the other stationery stores. The shop has a lovely boutique filled with lots of high-end stationery as well as own brand paper products made by Paper Tree themselves. While I was there seemed to be a consultation going on in the corner. I think you can commission customized stationery from this store. By the window there were a lot of pen products, ink products, and just beautiful shiny things that I was attracted to. And don't forget to look at the shelf underneath because you don't want to miss all of the notebooks under there. This was one of their own brand products, so it was nice to get a feel of the paper that they use. For ink lovers, this wall would be where you would be drawn to first. They had all these beautiful boxes of ink pots that you could look at. They also had a beautiful range of wax seals and stamps that you could choose from. And on these shelves there were lots of paper products to look at, so lots of sizes, colours and paper types to just explore. These were some cute little notebooks, and on the shelf below there were lots of letter stationery, so envelopes and letter paper. And at the bottom, more inks in these absolutely beautiful boxes. I'm not into using ink, but I almost was converted. On the middle table were some of their collaboration items, including these notebooks and lovely pen cases. And these pastel pens were very, very pretty. They had a range of cards and little note cards that you could send, and I really loved these little ones in the cases down below. Of course, I'm drawn to anything with cats on it, so these were particularly cute. Here's a closer look at some of the pen displays, and they did also have some watercolour sets here which you could use. I think art supplies and stationery always goes hand in hand. I really appreciated the design of this store. It was very calm and serene, and the staff were really lovely and very willing to help if you needed it. A 5-minute walk takes us to our next shop, Gyokusen-dō, which has been selling brushes in this area for over 200 years. They have a little display of bits and pieces of stationery outside, and once you step in through the doors you can understand why they need to spread out onto the pavement. This store is packed to the rafters full of paper and brushes. There's barely room to move, and when I was there on a weekday it was actually fairly busy with a stream of customers coming in and out of the store. So practice your sumimasen and you will just have to shuffle past everyone to get to have a look at the wonderful range on display here. They have all manner of beautiful calligraphy brushes, so if you are looking to get into the calligraphy or want to use them in your art, I think this would be a great place to put on your Tokyo itinerary. But just make sure that you don't bring any big backpacks, as there really is very little room to move. Our next stop is TOBICHI, the Hobonichi shop, which is about a 12-minute walk from the last shop, so you may want to take your time drifting in and out of Jinbocho's bookstores before you get here. I haven't used Hobonichi before, so coming to this store I wanted to get an introduction to the brand. They had this lovely little display at the front, but what everyone was here for was the Hobonichi diary area. I visited in December, so everyone was looking to get their New Year diary. And it was a little bit hectic in here, people grabbing and moving and pushing around trying to get what they needed. I had done a little bit of research ahead of time, so I knew I wanted one of these weekly diaries, but I did also want to have a look at everything else they had to offer. They had these multi-year diaries as well as the famous Hobonichi Techo. There were loads of Hobonichi branded accessories like washi tapes and stamps and pens and just everything you need to get your diary set up. They also had a big range of covers to use your techo or your weeks in. I liked that they had lots of different characters and bright, bold colours to choose from. I will say it took a lot of patience to walk around this store as it was very cramped, and of course everyone wants to spend time making their decisions, so sometimes you couldn't see a certain area for quite a few minutes. But just like with all popular Japanese stationery stores, you just have to take your time and wait your turn. The main reason I chose to buy Hobonichi Weeks to test out in Japan is because it's so much cheaper here. I would just never even entertain the idea of trying it out if I had to buy it in the UK. If, like me, you're trying it out for the first time, I would recommend looking at the Japanese Hobonichi website before you come, just to see the prices and to see the products available. They did have these really cute Hobonichi Tokyo branded totes, so if you're looking for a souvenir, you could grab one of those. And I was drawn back to the Moomin area because I just love the Moomin characters, so I really like this collaboration. They also had this wall of all of the pencil boards in all of the different designs. It was so tempting to get multiples, but I had to restrain myself. Leaving Tobichi, our next stop is literally around the corner. This is the Takeo paper shop, and I think it is a must visit if you love paper. Inside you will find a beautiful array of papers arranged in this rainbow gradient. And all of these are samples, and on the back they have information about the paper, and you can go to the staff and make a request to buy certain pieces of paper, and they take them out of those white drawers lining the walls. As you can see, it was fairly busy and people just took their time looking at all of the samples and scribbling down which ones they wanted to purchase. But I just found it enjoyable to do a little bit of window shopping here and take in the beauty of all of these papers. And I did take out one of the samples so you can see what is on the back. At the front by the window they do have paper products like notebooks. They had these onion skin notebooks which I was really interested in, as well as other paper products made using their papers. I wasn't allowed to take pictures, but upstairs they also have an exhibition space where they exhibit different innovations in paper, which was really beautiful to see. So that is it for Takeo Paper Studio. Now let's move on to our final shop of the day. Just a 4-minute walk away, you will know you're in the right place when you see these bollards. It is Bumpodo. And make sure you take a look outside the shop because the building has incredible architecture and of course the famous cat face above the doors. This is a stationery and art supplies shop and it was quite busy when I went, so I immediately headed upstairs. And they always have these cards displayed on both sides of the staircase, so you could spend so much time if you're looking for a certain card coming up here. Reaching the top of the stairs, we hit the stationery. I was really intrigued by this cat character here, and I was tempted by a lot of the products, but I like to just buy a sticker, especially if I'm traveling, as it reduces how much I'm filling up my luggage, and it means I can take a little bit of a new character that I've discovered with me home. Here we have some memo pads and sticky notes, as well as walls and racks full of stickers. I really liked these retro ones. If, like me, you love stickers, you sort of have to look very quickly, make your choice and move away. Here they had a display of sailor inks and different pads and notebooks you could use with these inks. Also on this floor there is a big range of art supplies, so it is just so pleasing to walk around and look at all of the pencils and pens and markers and just all of these beautiful colours. I will say if you don't like a crowded shop, it is nice to come upstairs first, or maybe come upstairs for a breather, because there weren't so many people up here, and there were still lots of stationery items on the ends of these rows of art supplies. Here they have a range of sketchbooks and notebooks and other folders, including the Midori notebook range and Penko, Rollbarn, all of those brands that you're familiar with. At the back they have a counter that they don't use anymore, so there was even more stationery along here, including cards and letter writing paper. Here we have more pens, pencils and inks and a full range of Copic markers. I'm always tempted to buy Copic markers, but as I'm not an illustrator I think they might be wasted on me, but let me know if you use them for your journaling. Here they had a big range of tapes and glues, all kinds of adhesives that you could use in art and journaling, as well as other tools like clips and post-it notes. And along this wall they had even more notebooks. Back by the stairs there were even more inks on display, as well as rubber stamps and other pre-inked stamps. I'm always very tempted by stamps. I already have so many and I don't usually reach for them as often as I should, so I really had to resist buying some of these really cute stamps. There were also some more pens in this area, as well as a fairly small selection of washi tape just down below. And also a very small selection of ink pads. On the end of this row there were some novelty pieces of stationery, and behind us there were all of these cards and note papers. There was also a gallery and cafe on the third floor with more cards leading up there, but I didn't have time to check it out today. So I decided to finally head downstairs, where it was still quite busy, but as you can see there is so much more to look at down there. The ground floor has displays of gift items mostly at the front, and they also had a good range of book covers. In Japan you usually like to hide what you're reading on the train, so you use one of these covers. If you like pins and you like cats, then this section is for you. And in this back corner there are more Japanese gift items, and they did also have a small selection of goshuincho. They also have reading glasses, just lots and little bits and pieces here at the front that you can just look over and find lots of things for yourself and also for your friends and family. They did also have some snacks at the front if you want some more traditional items. There's this huge, tall, round display with loads of gift items, as well as jewellery and just lots of little curated bits and pieces. Although it was December, their diary and calendar section was a little bit out of the way, but they had a good selection here. There were more cards leading down these stairs, but we stayed on the ground floor and headed into the back where the art supplies continue. They had a range of papers and canvases, paints, chalks, all the kinds of colours and paints that you could imagine are down here. I can spend just as long in an art supplies or a stationery shop as I can a bookshop, and what I haven't shown you in this video is the bookshops that I visited in Jinbocho. I did visit some on this same day, but I decided to make a separate video for those, so please do make sure you are subscribed so you know when I put that video up. I will also be sharing a haul video of all of the stationery and books that I bought on this trip to Japan, so that will be coming soon too. I really hope you've enjoyed coming along with me to look at these stationery stores in Jinbocho, and maybe you've added some to your Tokyo itinerary for your next visit, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.